Bonjour, today we're learning about irregular IR verbs. So we should be somewhat familiar with what I mean when I say an IR verb from last semester, but now we're throwing a little bit new information into the mix. So in today's lesson, you should learn what is an irregular IR verb, what are some common irregular IR verbs, and how do you conjugate common irregular IR verbs. So these are the three things that we should know by the end of today's tutorial. First of all, what is an irregular IR verb? You can probably figure out just from the name. It is a verb that ends in IR, but does not follow the usual conjugation pattern of a regular IR verb. So these are verbs where they end in IR, but they don't follow that pattern that we learned last semester. So what are some of these verbs that fall into this category? Some of the most common irregular IR verbs are sortir, which means either to leave a room or building or to go out. So like if you're saying that you're going out with friends or you're going out on a date, this is the verb that you would use. Partir, this one means to leave a city, country, or region. So if you're talking about leaving somewhere, it's important to think about these definitions for choosing either sortir or partir. Dormir, which means to sleep. Servir, which means to serve. Sentir, which can mean either to feel, sense, or smell. And courir, which means to run. How do you conjugate irregular IR verbs? Although they are irregular, the verbs on the last slide all share the same pattern. For this pattern, you drop the last three letters. So you drop the IR like we're used to, but you also drop one more letter from the end. And then you add the following endings. For je, you would add S. For tu, you also add S. For il or elle, he or she, you add a T. For nous, you add ONS. For vous, you add EZ. And for il, elle, you add ENT. So let's look at an example. One example would be the verb sortir, which as we said means to leave either a room or building or to go out. So the conjugation of this irregular IR verb would look like je sors, tu sors, il sort, nous sortons, vous sortez, and il, elle sort. We can tell this right-hand side starts to look a little bit more like a regular ER verb in a weird way because we have that ONS, EZ, ENT, but it's important to keep in mind that this is a conjugation all to its own for irregular IR verbs. Let's look at another example. Partir also follows the same pattern that we talked about. Je pars, tu pars, il, elle part, nous partons, vous partez, and il, elle part. And here you can see the four other verbs that we talked about, dormir, servir, sentir, and courir, also all follow the same pattern. These follow the same pattern because you see that they drop the IR, but also one more letter, getting rid of the last three letters. So we're left with the stem, DOR, and then we add back S, ST, ONS, EZ, ENT. So I would go ahead and pause here and copy these down. They follow the pattern, but sometimes it's helpful just to get practice writing it out and see what it should look like. Et ça c'est tu. Make sure that you have all of these conjugations written down in your notes that we can practice tomorrow in class.